Okay, I think we are actually ready to go. So welcome to the Sustainability Through the Holidays webinar. I'm Trish Porter. I will do a brief introduction. I am on the board of directors of Sustainable Blacksburg, and I am also a program manager for Resilient Virginia. There you go. So I wanted to start off by kind of talking about what does sustainable holiday even mean? Because if you want to talk about something, you need to be on the same page. And so definitions are always good. So I started off with, this is a commonly accepted definition of sustainability. It's meeting our own needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So it doesn't just look at environment or economics or social, it's a whole system. And how can we whole system remain sustainable? So I kind of put together a sustainable holiday definition of, could be celebrating, eating, gifting, gathering, and decorating in a way that we enjoy, but also allows future generations to do the same. So it's not that we have to stop celebrating Christmas or Hanukkah or any holidays. It's just that maybe think about how can we do it in a less invasive way. So I'm going to start with a few facts. Fact one, in America, an extra 25 million tons of trash is generated between Thanksgiving and New Year's. And I have, that is 25% more trash than is generated throughout the rest of the year. It takes more energy to power up Americans' Christmas lights than some developing countries use in an entire year. For example, El Salvador uses 5.35 billion kilowatt hours per year. Ethiopia uses 5.3 billion, and Tanzania only consumes 4.81 billion kilowatt hours per year. So it takes us more energy to power our Christmas lights and decorations than some countries use in a whole year. And three, the 2.65 billion Christmas cards sold each year could fill a football field 10 stories high. It's a lot of cards that often get thrown away. They say that if each family sent one less card, that would save 50,000 cubic yards of paper. So my question is this level of consumption even sustainable? If we kept on going, would future generations be able to celebrate in a way that they want to? So we're going to start by sustainable gifting. I really think that we can still celebrate, but we don't have to do it in a way that takes all the joy out of the holidays. We can just make some minor changes. And gifting is one of the things we can do. So there's different ideas. We can give the gift of an experience. There's a lot of things we can do around Blacksburg. We can go to the Moss Arts Center, go bowling, go to the trampoline park, a lot of different things, go to a sports event. There's also things that you can do like go on a picnic. I don't know, have a movie night with your kids. It's a lot of different things that really the options are endless. And it makes more memories. So give the gift of charity. A lot of times people don't need more things in their life. So sometimes it's a good idea to maybe think about what could we give in their name? So could we give a gift to the Wildlife Federation? Could we give a gift to a local charity, the New River Land Trust, anything in their name? And it's helping out the local environment, the local economy, and helping out the just whole sustainability of the universe, really. Give vintage gifts. I like to call it vintage gifts, but secondhand gifts, we could call them. I have a story here. My daughter wanted this bear that she saw on TV that its belly lights up and it does little stars in the ceiling. You know, don't we pay $30 for this bear? I knew she was going to like for 5 minutes and then throw it away. And I was at Once Upon a Child and found one of the bears for $3. Gave it to her and she was ecstatic. She didn't care that her box wasn't new. It was what she wanted. And lo and behold, she played with it for a couple of days and it's now just sitting in the back of her closet. So saved money and kept something else out of the trash. We gave it a new life. give the gift of food. That's always a good one because we can all make cookies and we can all make pies. One of my favorite gifts is when somebody shows up with a casserole that I can take home and use for dinner. And that means I don't have to cook dinner. So giving the gift of food is always a nice one. Give a handmade gift. Now, some of us aren't crafty or artistic, some of us are, but handmade gifts always, it takes more thought and effort, and the recipient always appreciates it. But if you're not artsy or craftsy, there's a lot of local artists and crafters who are that you can buy a handmade gift from. Just supporting the local economy that way too. And give the gift of a healthy environment. This could be a lot of different things. Give them a plant or a tree, give them a hike, an adventure hiking, something that kind of just gets somebody else out and helps the environment and helps them immerse in the environment. So sustainable decor, because like everybody else, I love to decorate for Christmas, but do we have to go over the top? I guess is the question. So the big question is, this is what I hear a lot, a real Christmas tree or a fake Christmas tree? Which one's more sustainable? The answer is the real Christmas tree. An artificial tree would have to be reused every year for more than 20 years to be more sustainable than buying a fresh cut Christmas tree once a year. A study went into it and they actually found, they studied greenhouse gas emissions, resource usage, fertilizers, pesticides, and human health impacts that go into growing a Christmas tree versus creating a fake one. And they found that actually having a real Christmas tree was more sustainable for the environment. But there's another option too. The best option is getting a potted Christmas tree that you can use for a few years, and then once it gets too big, you can plant it outside. That's might be a little bit harder, but something to think about. Lighting is another one. I said this earlier, it takes 6.63 billion kilowatt hours of electricity just to power our lights and decorations. And I always think of the Griswold family Christmas where Clark Griswold covers his house and all the lights, and then when they turn them on, it powers down the whole city. Kind of what I think. It's a little over the top. So do we have to have that many twinkle lights on our houses? Do we have to have so much that it's just blinding to people? Can we just do one single strand? Can we cut back a little bit? Another thing is, as your twinkle lights have lived a good long life, replace them with LED lights. So don't just go out and replace them. That's actually not sustainable. If they're still in good functioning order, use it up. But if it's time to replace them, then replace them with a more sustainable option. Another thing is using a timer to turn on your lights on and off. Like I'll see houses with their holiday lights outside on all day long. You can't really see them. What's the point? So maybe put them on a timer where they'll come on in the evening when it gets dark and go off when it's light outside. Sustainable gatherings is another one. So one thing I've started doing this years ago is using real tableware instead of buying paper plates and napkins or anything like that. It works so much better. I produce so much less trash. And one option is just to go to a secondhand store and buy, like people donate whole big sets of tableware. I purposely got mismatched glasses so my guests could know which glass was theirs. So there's different ways to do that. Minimizing the food waste is another big one. When we have our gatherings, we tend to produce a lot of food. So as you're preparing the food, don't throw away the compostable items. And if you don't compost, check out Share Waste. There's a lot of people in this area that do compost, and all you have to do is throw it into their little box or in front of their mailbox, or they'll tell you where to go. And another one I like is sending leftovers home with your guests. That we tend to have a lot of, I make too much food. So sending the leftovers home is a good way to kind of just not have to throw them away. And I saw this idea online. I love this idea of going, whenever you go to a secondhand store, just buying all the old Pyrex. And then you have these containers that you can use, so you're not sending plastic containers home. What does it look like? So you just throw the stuff in a Pyrex glass bowl, send it home. So that's really all I have to say. all of this is on our website on the Sustainability for the Holidays guide that we created. And if you have any ideas, we would love to add them to the guide. We're going to actually go now and show you how to make a bag. So let me do this. I'm gonna do this. Yeah, that's good.
Hi, everyone. I'm gonna just make sure I have this on the mute so I can mute it when I'm actually using the sewing machine, so you don't have to hear that. But what we have today is Carol, who many of you may know, has made several of these really nice, very easy and simple gift bags. So what you do is you just take a piece of cloth that's a rectangular shape. She recommends double the length to the width, but it depends on what you want to have the gift bag for. So that's what's really nice about these. If you have a bigger gift, doesn't really fit in things, or a very small gift, you can make any size bag you want, and all you need is a rectangle. So like this piece of fabric, for example, just looks like this. So it's just a rectangle. You just fold it in half with the inside out so that you can sew the seams inside. If you're doing this at your house or somewhere with an iron, you can iron down that bottom seam just so that it stays nice and flat and it's a little easier to work with. But if you don't have an iron with you, just fold it and make it as flat as you can. And then all we're going to do is just sew down this side to hold that, and then sew down this other side. And then we'll turn it inside out. And then we'll fold in the top edge so that it looks nice. So you can, I'm going to hold this up to the camera. You can kind of see, so this is just sewn on one side, the other side, and then on the inside, you can see it's just folded over. And I'll show, this is, looks like this one was actually made out of a bandana. So, if you don't have extra fabric lying around, you might have like a bandana or, like a holiday towel or some other, maybe a old shirt that you don't wear anymore, but you like the fabric, and you can cut something out of that. All right, so we've got our rectangle, we folded it in half with the inside fabric on the outside. And then we're just gonna sew a straight line down that edge. And I'm gonna mute while I do this. Okay, so I'm just gonna take this out and cut the thread there. And then you can see now we've got this side sewn. And we're just going to do the other side and then we'll be done. And one thing I am doing at the start actually is you sew a little bit and then you either use the hand, I don't know what you call it, really dial, crank, to backstitch a little bit, or your machine might have a lever where you can backstitch a little bit just to change the direction and then go forward. That'll just hold it on that initial part there. All right, and then I'm going to cut the thread here. Okay. So now we have our bag that's sewn, and you know it was just folded at the bottom so you don't even need a seam there. So now we're just going to fold it inside out. So the nice sides on the outside. And then take this this top edge. So Trish was saying she uses pinking shears to cut this off, so it makes a nice edge. Or you can just fold that right in. And of course, you could just hem the top as well if you like, if you sew a lot, but there you go. It's a very simple bag. And then you can just take a ribbon and tie it around the top, and you have a really festive gift bag that someone can reuse later on.
And I think that's it. It was a short presentation today. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. Also, I put my email on the slides. I would love it if you guys had any ideas on any other sustainability tips that we could put on the website. That would be great. And if not, we'll see you guys next month.